This is a channel about engine. Today we will disassemble this engine. This is a diesel engine from such a bus. I already repaired this engine about 2 or 3 years ago. Now he again came to me for repairs. I need to disassemble it, see its condition and make some decisions. And this engine has one very interesting feature. It has 2 crankshafts. This is very unusual for this engine model, and indeed very unusual for almost any engine. But watch the video to the end and you can see it for yourself. It's true. We begin to disassemble this engine. First we remove some pipes, manifolds, tubes, sensors and so on from above. Let's get started. Then I removed the high-pressure fuel pump, unscrewed the tubes from the injectors, then unscrewed the bolt in the oil supply hose to this pump. Then I need to unscrew this fitting to which this hose was connected. Only after that I get access to another bolt that also holds this pump. That is, it turns out a whole ritual, without which this pump cannot be removed. But that's not all. There are 2 more bolts in front that also hold this pump. Then I need to remove this small cover and there will be 3 nuts under it. I also need to unscrew them. I don't put marks now, because they simply don't exist here. There are different distances between the bolts on the gear and there's no other way to set them. We see that there is rust under the cover. It got water when the engine was washed. The cover was not tightened at that moment. Remove the valve cover and see how much carbon deposits are in this place. It looks like the guide bushing on this valve is very worn out and exhaust gases break through it right here and oil burns in this place. There is also a lot of carbon deposits on the valve cover itself. Remove the filter and also remove the heat exchanger. We see that there are chips under it, a rather large amount of small metal chips. I removed almost all attachments. There was an almost empty block. Now I will remove the rocker axles and then turn the engine over and then remove the pan, front and rear covers. So, we remove the cylinder head and immediately see that we have one valve left in the open position. This is the same valve on which the guide bushing is heavily worn. It is possible that even when the engine was washed, water got there and there, plus everything else, rust appeared. But that's all we'll see when we disassemble the head a little later. the sump and oil pump, remove the clutch basket and disc. Then I remove the flywheel, front and rear cover, and after that we will see that this engine has 2 crankshafts. Remove the intermediate gear and we see that there is a lot of wear on the sleeve. The plate that holds this gear in place was also broken. Then I take out the camshaft and remove another cover. Put the engine on its side, and now I need to get the pistons so that they are easy to get. It is necessary to clean the deposits that are on the top of the liner. So I took out the pistons and we see that they are in good condition. The liners are also in good alignment. There are of course small scuffs, but this could happen due to the metal chips that we saw earlier. In a word, all the details are still quite in working condition and could still work for some time. Well, now the fun part. Well, we see everything. As I said, there are two crankshafts on this engine. One turned out to be larger, the second turned out to be smaller. But I thought that the shaft was broken somewhere closer to the first neck. It means it's clear that it's all jokes about two crankshafts, but seriously, we see that the crankshaft broke. This is a very common reason for the failure of these engines, especially when you already install a crankshaft that comes with a spare part that you can buy in a parts store. We already bought this cylinder block in the store. We also bought this crankshaft in the store. These are not native spare parts from the factory. In general, this bus is already 15 years old, and during this time I have already made this engine several times. And already several times we put a new block of cylinders. Several times we put a new crankshaft. Several times we put a new piston group and cylinder head, and all this is constantly changing in a circle. This all happened because of the very poor quality of spare parts, and of the initially very poorly designed engine. The further fate of this engine is still unknown. We will then make decisions on it. And the bus on which this engine worked has already been written off. Now I'll show. bus itself was already in very poor condition. It was already 15 years old and it already had a lot of rusty parts of the body. This is a feature of Russian technology, unfortunately. So when the engine broke down again, it was decided to send this bus to scrap metal. I'll probably collect the engine and it will be as a spare. Here I have some spare parts from another exactly the same engine, but there was a bad cylinder block, but the crankshaft remained. I will assemble one from two engines. I will take something from one engine, I will take something from another engine, and as a result, we will get a spare engine for our other buses, our company. We have several more of these buses operating on routes. They were all bought at about the same time. I think that the minimum number of new spare parts will be purchased, namely, it will be gaskets for the engine, liners, piston rings, possibly seals, and maybe something else on the little things. I wanted to show such an interesting case, an engine with a broken crankshaft. I hope you were interested. Write in the comments what you think about this. I will finish on this video. Thank you all for watching. Good luck to everyone. Bye everyone.